The Chicago Bears continue to find themselves stuck in a frustrating cycle of mismanagement, and the 2024 offseason proved to be another chapter in this ongoing saga. Today, we're diving into one of the most head-scratching decisions by general manager Ryan Poles: the signing of tight end Gerald Everett, a move that's not only hurt the team, but has also set them up to help the Los Angeles Chargers in the 2025 NFL Draft. Buckle up, Bears fans, because this one is a doozy. When the Bears signed Gerald Everett to a 2-year, $12 million deal last offseason, it seemed like a decent move on paper. Everett had shown flashes of athleticism during his time with the Chargers and Seahawks. Pairing him with Cole Kmet in a tight end-friendly system led by offensive coordinator Shane Waldron had potential. Waldron had success utilizing multiple tight ends in Seattle, and many of us thought Everett would thrive in Chicago. But as the season unfolded, it became painfully clear that this move was a massive misstep. Everett played all 17 games, but managed just 8 receptions for 36 yards. Yes, you heard that right. 8 catches, 36 yards. That's less production than some tight ends manage in a single game. To make matters worse, Everett's Pro Football Focus grade was a dismal 42.9. ranking him among the bottom tier of all skill position players in the league. This was not the impact the Bears were hoping for when they handed him $6 million, guaranteed. Let's not forget the context here. Ryan Poles' tenure as GM has been riddled with questionable decisions, especially in free agency. Think back to 2023 when the Bears let David Montgomery walk to the Detroit Lions. Montgomery went on to thrive in Detroit, becoming a key piece of their offense. Meanwhile, the Bears' running game faltered without him. Or how about James Daniels? Poles allowed the versatile offensive lineman to leave for Pittsburgh, where he's been a reliable starter. And then there's Darnell Mooney, who departed for Atlanta after the Bears failed to lock him up long-term. These decisions have left gaping holes in the roster, and the Everett signing only added insult to injury. What makes this situation even more frustrating is how it's benefited Everett's former team, the Los Angeles Chargers. According to Over the Cap, the Chargers are projected to receive a 6th-round compensatory pick in the 2025 NFL Draft due to the Bears' decision to sign Everett. So not only did the Bears waste cap space on an underperforming player, but they've also inadvertently strengthened a rival team's draft capital. It's like a bad joke that keeps getting worse. Now, some of you might be thinking, well, the Bears' hands were tied. They needed another tight end. And sure, the need was there. Cole Kmet can't do it all on his own. But when you're handing out a multi-million-dollar contract, you've got to be certain the player fits your scheme and will produce. That clearly wasn't the case with Everett. And to make matters worse, Waldron, the very coordinator who was supposed to maximize Everett's potential, was fired halfway through the season. That's another layer to this debacle. If your offensive coordinator's job is already on shaky ground, why invest in a player specifically tied to his system? Looking at the bigger picture, this move epitomizes the Bears' struggles under Ryan Poles. Since taking over in 2022, Poles has made a series of moves that have left fans scratching their heads. Let's break down a few more. The Nate Davis signing, a 3-year, $30 million deal for a guard who hasn't lived up to expectations. The offensive line debacle, Poles has failed to build a cohesive unit to protect his quarterbacks, leaving players like Justin Fields and Caleb Williams running for their lives. Byron Pringle, a signing that not only failed to deliver on the field, but also cost the Bears a compensatory pick. These moves, combined with the Everett signing, paint a picture of a front office that's struggling to evaluate talent and allocate resources effectively. And it's not just about the money, it's about the opportunity cost. Every dollar spent on a player like Everett is a dollar that could have been used to address other pressing needs, like bolstering the offensive line or adding depth at edge rusher. So where do the Bears go from here? For starters, it's time to cut their losses with Gerald Everett. There's little reason to keep him on the roster for the second year of his deal. His lack of production and the team's change in offensive direction make him expendable. Cutting Everett would free up cap space and send a message that the team is willing to admit its mistakes and move on. Next, Ryan Poles needs to take a hard look at his approach to free agency. It's clear that the current strategy isn't working. The Bears need to prioritize proven performers over speculative signings. That means targeting players with a track record of consistent production and durability. It also means being more aggressive in retaining homegrown talent like Montgomery and Mooney, who have proven their worth in Chicago. The upcoming 2025 offseason will be critical for the Bears. With significant cap space and multiple draft picks, they have an opportunity to right the ship. But that requires better decision-making from the front office. Poles and his team must identify the team's most pressing needs and address them with precision. Whether it's upgrading the offensive line, adding pass rushers, or finding a reliable wide receiver to complement DJ Moore, every move needs to count. And let's not forget about the draft. The Bears hold several high-value picks, including 2 within the top 50. This is their chance to infuse the roster with young, cost-controlled talent. But drafting well requires thorough scouting and a clear vision for how each player fits into the team's scheme. There's no room for error here. As Bears fans, it's easy to feel disheartened by the team's recent struggles. But there's also reason for hope. The Bears have a passionate fan base, a storied history, and the resources to turn things around. What they need now is competent leadership and a commitment to building a sustainable contender. So, Bears Nation, what do you think? Was the Gerald Everett signing the worst free agent move of the 2024 offseason? And what steps should the Bears take to ensure they don't repeat these mistakes? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.